Hello friends, good morning. I am flying without any technical support today, so that's why you may have seen the man behind the curtain step into frame, and I am just hoping, praying that everything's going smoothly and well. If you happen to live in the proximity of the community and something fails with the broadcast, by all means come crashing through my door. You know where I live. And otherwise, we'll just hope that this goes well. So let's begin with a prayer together, and then we will share in one of Swamiji's songs, which anyone who's been around at Ananda will have heard eventually. It's an inevitability, but it's actually a very sweet song and one that has a tender place in my heart, and actually is one of, maybe not my most often quoted lines, but it comes up fairly frequently in my own day-to-day life. So let's begin. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, dearest friend, beloved God, great masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswar, beloved Guru, Paramahansa Yogananda, saints of all religions, and my friend Swami Kriyananda, humbly we bow before you all. Bless us today with an understanding of the impermanence of separation. Help us to realize that friendships once formed can never be broken in God, but that even death is temporary separation, and that all love will merge in divine love until we are all one in that light someday. Om, peace, amen. So today's song is our farewell song that we sing at Ananda, and it's called Go With Love. And I say it's an inevitability if you've been at Ananda long enough, because we sing this every time someone leaves, be it a guest who's been visiting for a while and we're putting them back on the road, or when a community member moves to a different location or something like that. Often we gather around and we sing this as a farewell. Or, for example, when I took yoga teacher training at the Expanding Light, at the end of the month-long immersive program where you really get to know one another and get to know the Ananda scene and the Expanding Light and the staff there, all of the students stand together and the staff sing this to them, which is very sweet. So I've been hearing this song for a long time. I've sung it to many. I've had it even sung to me once in a formal farewell, which is sort of surreal. But it's a very sweet piece of music with a wonderful message behind it. And farewells are something that can, so pull on the heart and can, even be painful sometimes. But this song helps us to spiritualize even something so simple as a farewell and recognize the deeper understanding that there can be no enduring separation in the longer scheme of our soul's evolution towards God. So let's sing it together. And it's very short, so I'll sing it a few times. And try and sing with me. Go with love, may joyful blessings speed you safely on your way. May God's light expand within you. May we be one in that light someday. Go with love, may joyful blessings speed you safely on your way. May God's light expand within you. May we be one in that light someday. Go with love, may joyful blessings speed you safely on your way. May God's light expand within you. May we be one in that light someday. May we be one in that light someday. Isn't that so sweet? What a delightful melody. This is one I could just sing on loop in repeat all over and over and over. And I have to actually take just a moment here on behalf of the Ananda music as a whole and point out one very often overlooked note in this song. This is one of those kind of most commonly missung songs that you'll ever hear. And it's at the very end of the song. And it's actually a very important note in the melody and in the vibration of the piece. And Swami actually made a very clear point that we should sing it as it's written and not as sometimes it's sung. And the note that's correct is like this. It goes, may we be one in that light someday. I'll sing that again. May we be one in that light someday. And actually, in the context of our conversations in this music series, this makes a great example of how melody can so strongly influence the intuitive understanding that the composer is trying to impart upon our consciousness. And to clarify that, I will also sing for you the incorrect way that it's often sung, and we'll contrast and compare the two and understand why Swamiji made such an emphasis to sing it as he wrote it. How many people sometimes sing this, how you may hear this, is like this. May we be one in that light someday. Now you may be thinking to yourself, wait, what? I didn't even hear a difference. So I'll break it down. The difference is on the word be. And the melody the melody as written stays the same on the words may we be, and then it changes on the word one. And how many people sometimes sing it incorrectly is it goes may we, and then steps up slightly on the word be, and then higher on the word one. So I'll sing it correctly, and it goes like this. May we be one. I'll sing that again correctly. May we be one. And then incorrectly is like this. May we be one. I'll sing that one more time. May we be one. Can you hear the difference? So the second way, the incorrect way, it sort of steps itself up a little bit more gradually to that high note. And actually, Swamiji did not approve of that, and he very much wanted us to sing it the correct way. And that is because when we sing that first tone repeatedly, may we be, and then when it suddenly lifts itself up to that higher note, it makes that word much more emphatic to the mind and in the melody. May we be one. And it makes, there's so much sweetness on that note when we sing it and when we arrive into it in that way. And it makes you really hear the word one, rather than this sort of idle hope that, well, since we're giving out, platitudes, we might as well chuck this one out while we're at it. May we be one. No, but when we emphasize the melody in this way, it makes it feel less empty and more a real sincere prayer, a promise, in fact. And so, may we be one has so much more sincerity to my ear and to my heart than may we be one. Just sort of feels like a little more melodramatic and doesn't have the power of realization behind it. And now you might be saying, come on, Keshava, it's one pitch, it's half a step difference. Yes, and could I stand up in front of a room full of PhD music theorists and argue this? No. But it's interesting that Swamiji said this and that I can also feel the difference. And also interestingly, I was sitting in a car once with another friend who's a musician, and this song came up, and I said, this is one of the most commonly missung songs in Ananda. And she looked at me and said, really? And I said, yes, here are the two versions. Which do you think is correct? And I sang them back to back, and immediately she said, it's the correct version is where it jumps up more, and there's not the gradual stepping up of the pitch. And I said, why do you feel that's true? I didn't reveal whether or not that was the correct answer. I just wanted to see what her intuition said. And she said, well, because when it goes from that one pitch suddenly to the higher one, it emphasizes it more deeply, rather than sort of losing its power by gradually rising to that point. I thought that was a good answer. And so it's actually helped me to remember which one is correct, that we want that sudden transformation to be more of a revelation. than a sort of inevitable emotional conclusion. So, now just after that, let's sing it correctly a few times. So it goes like this. May we be one in that light someday. May we be one in that light someday. Isn't that sweet? So now, just for fun, so we can hear the whole melody again before I discuss it, I'll just sing the whole thing one more time, once through, together. Go with love, may joyful blessings speed you safely on your way. May God's light expand within you, may we be one in that light someday. May we be one in that light someday. What a sweet prayer. What an incredible parting blessing to give to someone, to offer to someone. And it's lovely because there are some sweet parting prayers that I've heard before, like the Irish blessing is very kind. But this is delightful too because it addresses the fact that we are parting, and that it's not just asking that God bless you, but that may our love find its natural and dharmic conclusion in God eventually someday. And it's delightful, isn't it? Let's just look at the lyrics. Go with love. May joyful blessings speed you safely on your way. What an incredible blessing. What an incredible gift to offer to someone, a prayer to offer on their behalf. And then it continues, may God's light expand within you. And then the final prayer, may we be one in that light someday. And that last line is actually my favorite. May we be one in that light someday. And that line is one that often comes to my heart and that often is put to paper through my hand. It's sort of funny, but that's actually often how I sign like birthday cards or congratulatory notes or things like that. Just because it's such a sweet prayer. May we be one in that light someday. That it just keeps holding the relationship up to the highest goal. That may our hearts merge together in God's perfect consciousness at some point. That's what I aspire towards, and that's what I hope your soul will accomplish, and inevitably will accomplish someday. It's very sweet, and it's really touching to me. Now, the melody too has a lot of sweetness in it, of course. And even just that last passage, or actually we could talk about even the sort of climax of the piece. May God's light expand within you. There's so much, just the combination of the melodic curvature, the arc of the melody, combined with the tenderness of the words, it's just so sweet. Swamiji's music is not overly complex, but it's so much itself. It just is exactly what it's trying to be. May God's light expand within you. And of course, as we're saying, may God's light expand within you, the melody is expanding and soaring upwards, and it gives that impression, doesn't it? But then it returns to that sweetness, expand within you. It doesn't go bursting outward into some melodrama and trying to bring its attention to the person singing it, but may it expand within you. And then the final prayer, like we said, may we be one in that light someday. So sweet. But now, for fun, as we usually do, let's listen to the melody on the cello. And actually, what's sort of a fun thing here is this song finds its way onto one of the instrumental albums that was released, I think, in the 90s. And I was talking with David Miller, who helped to arrange a lot of the instrumentals of Swamiji's and helped a lot with the music and helped produce some of these albums and played a lot of the keyboards in the recordings that you'll hear. He was very involved with the music ministry for a long time and still is. And he's a fascinating chap, and I really have enjoyed hearing stories of the recording studio with Swamiji from him. But they did an instrumental version of this, and in that they do variations of the melody. And the variations are very sweet too. It makes it a little more playful and joyful, which is also such a sweet thing to bring to a parting song. That sometimes partings are sorrowful, but that's not at all what this song is helping us to do. It's rather, and it's directing us to realize that joy is everywhere and that we can send them off with joy and love. And so I'll try and play those variations. I don't have them written, so I'm playing them from my memory and my mind, so wish me luck. So it goes like this. First I'll play the melody as it's written and as we would sing it a few times, and I'll branch off and we'll return back to it. But let's just play with Swamiji through this melody and its variations. Isn't that fun? Just such a sweet, delightful little melody. Now I've chosen this song for a few reasons. One, because I love it. But two, because actually my life is going to be taking a slight change in the next week, and I'm not sure when I'll be able to do this broadcast again. And so in a way, this song is also my momentary, temporary farewell to all of you, and with great gratitude for going through this journey so far with me. And I think we'll be able to resume it again probably in mid-June, if not before. But it's been a real pleasure, and I've been so grateful to receive some of your comments and your feedbacks and your letters saying how much you've enjoyed it and how much you've enjoyed tuning into Swamiji's music in this way. It's been so nice to know that you've enjoyed it as I have, and it's been a treat to share it in this way. So this song is sort of my temporary parting with gratitude to each one of you, with, of course, the recognition, as the song itself says, that we'll be one in that light again someday, and I'll be back and we'll do more music together. And you know, I still have in the back of my mind the hope to get through every single one of Swamiji's songs. And first, perhaps those with lyrics, and then if we're really ambitious and we have, my whole life in front of me, then why not do all of his melodies? We'll be here for a while. But for the time being, go with love. And I hope to be back soon, and I hope that you'll join me when I come back. And in the meantime, I hope that you take everything that we've explored together and explore Swamiji's music from the heart and more deeply, and bring it into your daily sadhana, bring it into your daily life, and try, as he said, to realize that this music is much more than entertainment, but that it will teach you how to live. And that if you can find the right song to partner to any moment in your life, it can be your guide in understanding how to live correctly in any given moment. And just remember, when your heart is open, when your heart is full, how do you feel? Isn't it incredible how different our experience of life is based entirely upon the direction that our heart's energy takes? When our heart is buoyed upwards in devotion and love and aspiration for the divine, even suffering is tolerable. But when it's not, even outward wonders turn to ashes in our mouth, do they not? And so let's use this music to make our lives more enjoyable, to make our consciousness more sweet, and to be an instrument, literally and figuratively, for that ray of consciousness which we ourselves are aspiring towards. So with that, friends, go with love, may joyful blessings speed you safely on your way. May God's light expand within you, may we be one in that light someday. Go with love, may joyful blessings speed you safely on your way. May God's light expand within you, may we be one in that light someday. Go with love, may joyful blessings speed you safely on your way. May God's light expand within you, may we be one in that light someday. Go with love, may joyful blessings speed you safely on your way. May God's light expand within you, may we be one in that light someday. May we be one in that light someday. May we be one in that light someday. Thank you, friends, for joining me today. And I look forward to spending the time together again soon.